Welcome back to the show. You're watching NHL Now, and today we are doing another installment of Ask Us Anything. So we put a call out for you guys on Twitter, on Instagram. We have scoured the questions. I had to ask for questions a second time because the first trip around, they weren't bringing it.
Really?
They weren't bringing the heat. I had to be like, all right, guys, let's get it together. Send in some better questions.
And?
Well, we're going to find out right now.
All right,
I've not seen any of these.
Okay.
All right, here's one from Instagram. What teams, if any, really have a chance of taking 4 out of 7 against the Bruins? I am going to put pedal to the metal here and force you guys to pick a team. So you can't just say, I don't think anyone could take 4 of 7 for the Bruins. But if you had to, you think it's Tampa?
Well, I think they got a great goalie.
Okay.
And I think they know how to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say. That if you want me to answer, I'm going to say Tampa.
Okay.
Tampa. Tampa's the...
Both of you say Tampa.
Yeah. That's the one I would feel most secure with being able to say they could beat the Bruins. Yeah. Doesn't mean no one else can't.
What about Colorado? Defending champs.
Well, then you get to the Cup final.
Because I like their... in terms of goaltending, I think Tampa has the edge against Colorado. But in terms of the depth of their lineup, if Colorado is fully healthy...
Listen, I think Colorado can win the Cup as well. So, yeah, I would agree. But, you know, I'm thinking more of the Eastern Conference.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about, I got confused. Started talking about Tampa.
Yeah,
Boston.
no. What am
I talking about? Today is not my day. Just for everyone at home, which you have not seen, was me throw all my notes in the commercial break because I'm so frustrated.
You're hard
on the other one I would probably, if I know this wasn't the question, but if I'll go a second option.
Okay.
If they're playing the right way, I think the Rangers have a chance. But I think if I had to pick one that I'd feel most secure about, it'd be Tampa.
Yeah. Tampa to beat Boston. All right, so let's get to our next question.
All right.
This one's from Scott. More excited to potentially see a Vegas-Edmonton, McDavid versus Eichel first-round matchup, or a rematch from last year's opening round between the Kings and the Oilers? Which would you rather see?
I would rather see McDavid versus Eichel head-to-head because I think it's, you know, that was the big deal when they were drafted. What was it, 2015 now? 1 and 2 in the draft. And it hasn't worked out quite as well for Jack so far. I mean, you know, it was in Buffalo, and then he had a significant injury, missed time, traded to Vegas. But he has been playing very well of late. And, you know, you have an injury like that, it might take you a year to kind of really get going. I think that'd be a great matchup within the matchup. It's two really strong teams throughout their lineup. And guess what? If Vegas wins and LA wins, we get to see LA and Edmonton again. So we could have the best of both worlds. But I think that's an interesting subplot.
It is. I don't know if I'm as excited about it because I know these two will always be linked together. Yeah. But I know you alluded to that, but like they're not even close to each other as far as what they are as players.
Well, nobody is now.
Right, nobody is.
Yeah,
so, you know, I think it's more probably for me. I love the hatred from a prior year, right?
Yeah.
And I think this Kings.
There is that.
Yeah, there is that. And I think this Kings team is, they're
ready to go.
They're ready to go, yeah. They do a lot of different things.
Totally differently, and by differently I mean not mixing up the question and talking about Tampa for no reason. I think I would rather see in the first round Edmonton versus Vegas, only because I would not want LA to get eliminated in the first round by the Oilers, but I also would not want Connor McDavid to be out in the first round. So in order to have both of those things happen, I would like them to avoid each other in the first round.
But Vegas
or either of those.
But Vegas is tough too. I mean, they've had a really good season. They're really well coached. They're strong through the middle of their group now. When you think of Eichel playing at the level he can play at, it looks like, I don't know, Mark Stone, it seems like he's not going to be back. Yeah. So, but they have Pietrangelo on defense. They have
they play the right way. If you were going to play the wrong way against a team, that team will always play the right way. Yeah. If Vegas can beat you. They certainly can.
All right, well, we'll see how it shakes out down the stretch here. Let's get to our next question. Sports Spence. Who is a better all-time player, Ovechkin or Crosby? Where have I heard this question before?
It's Crosby, and I hate that because that's not an indictment on Alex, okay, guys? So like you know, it's
if it said best all-time goal scorer, you'd have a different answer.
Yes, but I mean Sidney Crosby, I think is a top 5 player of all time. Yeah. I put Alex. Where would you put him? I put him maybe top 12, 15.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I mean, you're talking about some of the best we've ever seen, man. So no knock to either guy that anybody would choose on either side, but Sidney Crosby for me.
Yeah, and I'll group Alex with another great goal scorer in the history of the game, Mike Bossy, right? Or maybe Brett Hull, right? Those are guys that are similar players, right wings, really great goal scorers. To me, I would have Mike Bossy ahead of Ovechkin and Brett Hull probably. So, but that's just my opinion. All three are great players, but those are guys who are of similar ilk, right? Yeah. Right wings, right shot guys, great goal scorers.
Yeah, Crosby all day. Next question.
There you go.
Quinn Hughes has posted back-to-back seasons with 60 assists. The only other two that can make that same claim are Bobby Orr and Paul Coffey. He's also in the process of breaking most D records in franchise history, some of which he already owns. Is Quinn Hughes getting the recognition he deserves?
No.
Okay.
No, he's not, because he's on a team that hasn't been very good during his tenure there in Vancouver. So, they're not in big moments as much, and we don't get to see him in those big moments, right? But I got to watch them a lot last year. I mean, got to be honest, Bruce Boudreau, we're all friends with Bruce here. When he was coaching the Canucks, I was living and dying with the Canucks last year, as you know, watching all their games, and I was blown away by Quinn Hughes. I just think he's a fantastic player. He is a magician on skates. He walks the blue line terrific. He sees the game so well. Is he perfect? No, he's not the biggest guy. In the D zone, you can work him a little bit because he's not physically big. But the bottom line is he's like Erik Karlsson. When you have the puck all the time, that's a good way to defend as well. I think he's a terrific player, and no, I don't think he's getting the credit he deserves, because you saw the numbers right there. Yeah. I mean, back-to-back seasons like that, only Orr and Coffey have done it.
I didn't know that was a thing until I saw.
There you go, right?
That's incredible. So that'll tell you, no, hey, he's not getting enough love. He's been incredible, but all those things you said, Ej, that's why, because they've been struggling. They've been struggling there, and I also think that part of it's due to I'll lump someone else in there that doesn't get enough love, I think, nationally is Adam Fox. And I think that these two players are very shifty. They're great skaters, but there's flash. Don't get me wrong. There's flash with these guys, but it's like not Cale Makar flash. Like Cale Makar flash is something different, right?
So he's electric.
These guys are really solid. So not enough love for Quinn Hughes.
All right, unanimous across the board. We've got time for one more question. So let's get to it. In the spirit of last night's Ohtani Trout showdown, what showdown would you like to see at the next World Cup or Olympics?
So would that be a
is that a shootout situation?
Shootout?
I'm going to say interpret the question however you see.
Yeah, I mean, I would say U.S. and Canada in a head-to-head matchup for all the marbles. I think USA Hockey has come a long way over the last 20 years for sure. And think of all the great American players out there right now that are making an impact in the game. And obviously Canada has always been, the high end. That's been the
best.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I think,
the standard.
I agree. I mean, the Matthews versus McDavid kind of, it's
kind of crazy to think, like, Austin Matthews has been in the league for 7 years, and we have not seen him in a true, best-on-best tournament.
Yeah, he was with Team North America, which was that young players.
Not true.
But he was teammates with McDavid in that tournament. Yeah,
yes, exactly.
We'd love to see it. I mean, I know that Connor talked a little bit about the disappointment of not having that kind of circumstance over the last several years. And, hockey fans would love to see it. It's kind of been a fabric of our game for many years. I'm reading a book right now on the Summit Series, 1972, the Russians and the Canadians, and all the history that's there, and, 1980, Miracle on Ice. And we're used to that in hockey, and we'd like to see it again soon. 2018 didn't work out with the Olympics. I think that was probably a wise decision by the league. 2022, you couldn't go, pandemic. And then, the World Cup of Hockey, they are trying to get that off the ground moving forward, but they want to do it when the time is right. And right now the time is just not right when you think about things that are going on in the world. So hopefully it'll happen soon, because it'll be fun to watch.
The way I take this question, too, I think of a goaltender that I would want to match up against a teammate. And I'm thinking of the best goaltender, Vasi. So then I'm thinking, there's got to be a Stamkos Vasilevsky. It would be cool.
Yeah,
that
I
would
like
be
that.
cool. I like that a lot.
I think that'd be good, to see you know, they see each other in practice all the time, but when the stakes are at the highest, what guy would end up being
Patty
successful?
Kane against Shesterkin, maybe, in a U.S.-Russia shootout.
Yeah.
Now, they haven't been teammates for a long time, but talk about
by the time we
high-end
get
players.
this tournament, they might be.
Yeah, that's true. They might be retired.
Yeah.
Who knows? But,
I'll tell you what, as a Canadian, I'd be a little bit nervous about a Canada-U.S. showdown. I mean, you look at this season, how many of the biggest individual stories in the league have centered around American players? Even the last two, right? Like Austin Matthews with the 60 goals last year. Jason Robertson, huge story the first half of the year this year. Jack Hughes, massive story. Tage Thompson, another American, huge part of a big story this season.
And we got the goaltenders here south of the border. And in Canada, I think there's, you know, when you talk to people, when they try to put those rosters together, they stumble a little bit. Not to say they're not good goalies, but
it's not what it was.
It's not what it was at other points in time.
It's not, you know, Carey Price era. Or
Oh, you mean they can't pick between Brodeur and Waugh? Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Those days are gone.